Welcome in, guys, to yet another World of Warcraft video on this channel. Today we are going over this week's Wowhead Weekly Economy Wrap-Up post. This is number 213, obviously written by Samanan Plays WoW, as you can see right here. He finally has his own name. He had that last week as well and a couple of the other weeks, which I think is really awesome. But this is again a weekly video that I'm going to be making, going over what we actually have here and you know, kind of giving you guys my thoughts on it, so you know what I think about it, and also if there's anything interesting that maybe we didn't talk about in my community or around us, then we can see it here. So first of all, obviously Samanan makes his own video where he goes over his weekly gold making activities, what he's preparing and all that, and then he obviously also goes over the Wowhead Economy Weekly Wrap-Up post himself. So if you would like to check that out, make sure you do that. I will, of course, be linking this post down in the description and probably also in the comments. So if you're interested in that video, it's a very good video. I watched it myself, so make sure you go watch that. But let's get into it here. Obviously, we're going to be talking about a lot of the things that happened this last week. It's going to be boosting cross-realm organization bans and gold making, skinning changes, and then there's some other stuff as well. So first of all, obviously coming to the boosting cross-realm organization bans and gold making. So if you guys do not know, Blizzard introduced a full ban, not a full ban, but a somewhat almost full ban on boosting communities and boosting organizations specifically. So boosting is not fully out of the game, and this is another post here that I didn't see here on the weekly post, but I would like to go over this for you guys so you guys know what's allowed and what isn't. So far you can see here that we have a blue post that clarifies it a little more for what's allowed now, and it says, to provide more clarity for those who have been wondering where the lines are drawn in this new policy, we'd like to summarize that part of it. Advertising for gameplay activities should be done by a WoW player character who intends to participate in the gameplay activities. This means that there should be no cross-realm advertising and there should be no advertising from non-participating players. And as before, the only place that advertising for a gold activity is allowed is the trade channel. Advertising in any other channel but the group finder makes the player subject to to actions against their account. So what this means is if you want to boost somebody, it has to be something that you participate in. So this doesn't say you can't do it across realms. If you advertise or get somebody in from another realm, then you have to participate in it. You cannot do large-scale boosting communities, you cannot do large-scale boosting organizations, but on a smaller level or boosting by yourself, if you advertise something and you actually participate, that is still going to be allowed. So boosting is not gone. It's still very much there. And people can still do it. So we are going to see a resurface of at least probably a lot of people doing this on individual servers. Now, obviously, it's going to have different impacts on the economy. And that's what this post from Chaotic Neutral actually goes into. And also we have Dirty Herbies that comes in. So you can see here. Let's read it. Just read it over quickly. For the concerns, basically, I feel one of the unintended side effects of this will be people taking it upon themselves to now just report en masse people that are advertising in trade chat, even if they're following the new rules set forth in the EU LA clarification. So basically, this is the same situation that we had when the multi-boxing change was introduced. A lot of people read the title and the overall description. They were like, okay, multi-boxing is not allowed anymore. You can't do it anymore. So if I see any player doing any sort of thing on multiple accounts, I'm going to report them just because I think that it's not allowed anymore. And that has already been the case with boosting. There are so many people that don't understand that boosting is still allowed, just not in the same way. So the way that they've been introducing these policy changes has not been the best possible way, but it's also very hard to do, especially when you have people that dislike these parts of the game already. So if they even have a chance of being allowed to report somebody for something that they think is against the TOS, they're gonna do it. And this is something that I definitely expect will continue to happen, at least for a little bit. and hopefully Blizzard actively puts an effort against it and don't just let bans go through and then don't look at appeals. But that's obviously something we're gonna have to wait and see. It was pretty bad with multi-boxing and still is, so we're gonna have to see with that. But 30 says, I've been feeling like this was coming for a while. The trade chat spam was so overwhelming, and the majority of the player base was getting sick of it. That being said, individual guilds will still be running boosts, especially top guilds that need funding to bankroll their next tier. And this is absolutely correct. There's no question about it, because the top guilds definitely need a ton of gold, and they need to get that from somewhere. So boosting people is still allowed, so they're probably still going to be doing it. And then, yeah, obviously this with a lot of people were getting really tired of the trade chat spam. I mean, me included. I don't think I ever met anybody that was really happy with it. Even the people that were spamming, they were like, we have to, because otherwise we will not get sales. Because if one person does it, all the other people have to do it too. So, yeah. But I mean, we're probably going to go back to an era of trade champ, not necessarily as bad as it was, but people will still be announcing that, they're selling boosts when it comes back to guilds setting up the whole profile again. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. It'll be very interesting to see, of course. And then we have the way I'm reading, yeah, and this, we went over this with the actual other post there that I showed you guys. And then for a little extra comment here from Seminan, he says, in general, the consensus seems to be that removing the trade spam is a good thing. The focus seems to favor the individual booster and or guilds with the reputation to reach many players. There's a genuine concern that the operation will move more underground and off-site, which could lead to further concerns of RMT being involved. In general, I can see what Blizzard's trying to do here. Yeah, I think this is a good change overall, and it does hurt a pretty big part of the player base, obviously. But a lot of the people that actively enjoyed boosting can still do it, so it's not completely gone from the game. So at least that's, a plus side to that. One bad thing though is, considering the fact the majority of boosting will probably happen on whatever server that big guilds play on, that could mean that this will hurt low populated servers and medium populated servers, because a lot of the people that maybe want boost, they can't get it on those servers specifically, or it would be too expensive from a handful of guilds that are able to do it there. So we might see a lot of people moving over to the full pups and high pups, and that might not be very good for the game. So we're going to have to wait and see what the long-term impact of this is actually going to be, especially in 9.2 when we get the new what do you call it, Mythic Plus, when we get the new raid, of course, and a new PvP season of Mythic Plus stuff. So we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to wait and see. And then obviously we have some more information here, and Manpheus actually has a good video here as well on bans boosting. I also have one, so if you guys have not seen that, make sure you go read or listen to some more information on it. And then, of course, here we have a little bit about the skinning changes on the PTR. This is something that I talked about in a previous video as well. But basically what the developers note is, because for the people that have not seen it, many skinnable, mineable, and gatherable enemies can now be skinned, mined, and gathered by all players who engage with the enemy and have the correct gathering skill. And then there's the developer's note as well. It says, in order to help make skinning, which is skinning, mining, and herbing from enemies, a more friendly group experience, we have adjusted skinning rules. The majority of skinnable enemies will now be following the normal tapping rules and be skinnable by everyone who engaged with them and has the ability to skin them. Some weaker and very specific enemies can still only be skinned once, while some rare and powerful enemies will be skinnable by everyone who engages them and is capable. So this line of text here, obviously this is complete, we have no idea what this means fully. We don't know what mobs, if it's only going to impact current expansion ones, or if it's potentially also going to be some old expansion impacts as well. We're going to have to wait and see with this one. And but it's very interesting. I think this is a good change overall for the game, especially because leather here in Shadowlands with legendaries has been, well, way more expensive than the other professions. So I think overall this is probably going to be very good for the game. But we'll have to wait and see how they actually introduce it to the game. And there's a lot of conversation about people talking about back and forth, so we're gonna have to wait and see what people find out in the PTR, and obviously when it releases too. And Student has a video here as well. He in this one he actually talks more about the old world farms, because we could have some really fun 2x4 farms, or 4x4 even, depending on how the rules are. So we're gonna have to wait and see with that. And then also that is spotted a little nice PTR change, and that is basically some of the items, the crafted items, they're uniquely equipped. And now actually any unique item that you're buying on the auction house will give you a little like warning message. So I think this is good for the people that don't necessarily know or don't pay attention. I think this is very good, so people don't continue to make those mistakes, because a lot of people have. And then down here, as the last part of the weekly post, we have a little another add-on, which is like unrelated to all the other stuff. But if you guys don't know, DalaGG right here is the creator of Worth It, the add-on. So if you're interested in this specifically, this goes both for gold making but also collecting. So if you guys are going or at least interested in an add-on like this, you should definitely check this video out. And of course, I'll be linking the weekly post here in the description, and obviously the comments down below. So make sure you go click on it and watch that video if that's something you're interested in. But that's actually going to be it for the weekly economy post. We have some very interesting things. Hopefully next week we can talk about 9.2 release dates. That's what I'd really like to see. And I mean, when you're seeing this video, we might have already had it, considering this is releasing on a Monday. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. But that's actually going to be it for me now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any thoughts, anything interesting, anything you want to discuss, make sure you drop it down in the comments below. But that's going to be it for this video. So until the next one, see you guys.